Welcome to the WMNF Afternoon Call-In Show. I'm Sean Kinane. This is the last call. In a moment, we're going to open up the phone lines to take your calls at 813-239-9663. You can also email your questions or comments to dj@WMNF.org. The show you were just listening to was Mitch Jeserich, Letters and Politics. Today on Last Call, we're going to talk about a possible domestic partnership registry in Hillsborough County. The Commission will take up the issue tomorrow. The City of Tampa already has one, as does all of Pinellas County. And joining me this afternoon to talk about this is Sally Phillips, President of the Florida GLBT Democratic Caucus. Welcome, Sally.
Hi, Sean.
And also Ercilia Albistu, President of the Hillsborough County GLBTA Democratic Caucus. Welcome to Last Call, Ercilia.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Well, let's begin with just a question of what is a domestic partnership registry and why is it needed? Ercilia?
Hi, the domestic partnership the registry has to do with having access for two unmarried cohabitating individuals in Hillsborough. It could be same-sex couples or heterosexual couples. And the main idea behind that is we don't currently have access to like visitation in hospitals. We cannot make decisions if we have children together. We're not allowed to make decisions like currently for educational purposes, like what school your child wants to go to, or like medical access in some cases. There's also emotional and economic relationships that are damaged. We don't, in Florida, unless you have a will, you basically don't have the same rights that married couples do currently. And with Florida passing the Amendment 2 back in 2008, and that was already in the Constitution, it was already basically illegal for it's already illegal for same-gender couples to be married in Florida. And that just increased the fact that now that has to be undone from the Constitution in order for us to have access in that regard. So we're basically even looking at even federal benefits to actually gain the full scope of benefits. And that's why we're so grateful that the President Barack Obama has presented that before the country and the world that he supports our rights, and that's very important to us.
But this ordinance, this proposed ordinance in Hillsborough County wouldn't give an unmarried couple that's a domestic partner, they wouldn't have all the same rights as a married couple, but this is maybe kind of a beginning of getting some of those rights. Exactly.
It does not equal to marriage or civil unions. That's correct.
So if there are people tomorrow that are speaking out and they say, that this is a slippery slope, or that they think it's an attack on traditional values, how would you respond to that?
Well, I would say that that's not what what the intent is, and it's clearly defined. It's not intended to alter, affect, or contravene any existing city, county, or state federal laws. So that's not the purpose of this. It's basically, it's an economic equality issue. I mean, we're actually losing jobs. There's jobs that are not moving into Hillsborough because when corporations look at relocating or expanding their employment, they actually look at the infrastructure that a city or a county or a state has, which includes transportation and all that, which is another issue altogether. But equality is an infrastructure. I mean, if they're looking at a community that's not progressive, doesn't believe in equal rights, they're not going to move here. I mean, and that's part of the issue is that we're losing out on major development because we don't have the progressiveness that really should have long been attained already. So it's not going to change like the definition of marriage or anything like that at all. So that's not what it's all about.
That's Ercilia Albistu. She's president of the Hillsborough County GLBTA Democratic Caucus. And we also have Sally Phillips, president of the Florida GLBT Democratic Caucus. And we'd like to hear from you. We want to take your phone calls. Here's the number, 813-239-9663. You can email us at dj@WMNF.org if you'd like to join this conversation on Last Call. And we're going to go now to Sam in Brandon. Hi, Sam. What's on your mind?
I believe in equal rights for everyone, but I do not condone this move by Hillsborough County, and I hope it does not pass. It's just absurd. I think it's totally absurd, and I hope that our government does not
Sam, thanks for those thoughts. How would you respond, Sally or Ercilia?
Well, let me just say, and you know, there are people out there that believe just like Sam does, but some of the demographics that we have found in doing research, not only when Tampa City Council passed the Domestic Partnership Registry, but also particularly in Hillsborough County, what we have found is that in Hillsborough County there are over 30,000 domestic partnership households, but of those 30,000, a little less than 3,000 of them are same-sex couples. So this domestic partnership registry, although you know we're sitting here and we're from the GLBTA caucuses, the fact is that this is going to affect not only, actually more than not only, same-sex couples. It's going to affect opposite-sex couples. It's going to affect our senior population. You know, there are seniors out there who, let's just say, have one of them or both of them have lost their a partner, a wife or a husband, and they have benefits that if they got married again they would lose. But they find someone that they live with maybe, or they are committed to, and they need some rights. It affects what we've seen over a number of years, and with domestic partnership registries being enacted in cities and municipalities all over Florida and all over the country, is it really affects the opposite sex couples even more so than it affects the same sex.
Let's go back to the phones. I have Amy on the line. Amy from Tampa. Hi, what's on your mind?
For domestic partnerships that are in Hillsborough County, if you were like going to a hospital that's not within Hillsborough County, does that domestic partnership apply? And also, same thing with if you're within the City of Tampa, would that domestic partnership hold?
Well, I know that in the City of Tampa, the Domestic Partnership Registry that was passed, and thanks for that question, by the way, it only holds true, and the jurisdiction is only in the city. Just as in Hillsborough County, it would only take place, and they only have anything to do with hospitals, let's say, that are only in Hillsborough County.
And some municipality, oh, go ahead, Amy, I'm sorry.
Create a list of all of the gay, lesbian people within the county, and what a neat way to make a list is to set up a registry.
That's an interesting take.
That is an interesting take.
It is. But it's open to everyone. I mean, it's not GLBT driven solely. I mean, for the City of Tampa, what we talk about is, you know, if we're gonna, you know, ask our county commission and our city council to listen to what we're looking for to make our quality of life better, we need to step up and sign up for, you know, for these registries. I mean, that's part of the point, is if we're fighting to get this, then why aren't people stepping up and taking advantage of it? Because it's a public record, but you know, the requirement is that you have to have a loving relationship, and you have to be able to prove they're responsible for each other. So what's wrong with letting everybody know about that? I mean, the time comes, we need to step out and basically, for lack of a better word, be counted, because we do matter.
And getting back to something else that Amy brought up, which it has to do with reciprocity. Some of the jurisdictions that pass these domestic partnership registries have reciprocity throughout the state with other registries, or, for example, in Pinellas County now, all the people that were registered, for example, in Gulfport or in St. Pete, now are eligible for the benefits all throughout Pinellas County, and then throughout, I think, other places where there's also a registry. Are there other places in the state, for example, that would have a reciprocal relationship with the registry in Pinellas? Do you know anything about that?
Do you know about that?
I don't know. You've probably done a lot of research on it, and that actually sounds pretty good.
So that is one thing that's, at least in Pinellas, I know that they've got everyone in Pinellas covered. If you've already registered, for example, in Gulfport, you're automatically covered in unincorporated Pinellas.
So in other words, if you've already registered in the City of Tampa. if in fact that's part of this registry, which we don't know that it will be, because actually tomorrow it's going to be going into the first reading, but then it's going to go to the county attorneys. So it's not been actually written yet. So that is something that we should probably pay attention to.
All right, thanks for that call, Amy. Let's go now to Jane. Hi, Jane in Brooksville.
Hello, thank you for taking my call. I was wondering when you first introduced your guest and then opened up the program for calls, if we were going to hear from Sam and Brandon, and I would just like to pose a question to Sam as to why he doesn't believe anything should be passed.
Well, why don't we pose that?
Along with Selma and Seneca Heights, Stonewall, and his inaugural address.
Yes.
Maybe not be so afraid.
Jane, thanks for that call. And you know, I'm sure there's some other people out there besides just Sam who's already called. But if you do have an opinion that you'd like to voice about this, and that Jane is talking to you, that if you want to tell us why you oppose this, if you do, and you're out there and you haven't called us, give us a call 813-239-9663 or email us at dj@wmnf.org. You're listening to Last Call, and we'll go now to the phones again, and Jean in Port Richey. Hi, Jean.
Hi. I just wanted to say that I support that legislation. I lived for a number of years in Pinellas County. I've been in a relationship for 15 years with an opposite sex individual, and about 7 years ago, I had health insurance through my partner's employment, and the company was purchased by another company who would not allow for the domestic partner to be insured. And had Pinellas County at that time had that domestic partnership rule, I would have been able to have the health insurance. So I think that that's something that is very, very advantageous.
Right.
Residents of the county.
Jean, thanks for that call.
Yeah, Jean, this is Sally Phillips. I just wanted to say, and I appreciate your thoughts on that. What the domestic partnership is, though, it's just a registry. It doesn't give health benefits. I'm gonna list them, the benefits of the domestic partnership registry. Number one, it allows each other to visit healthcare facilities. It allows the couple that are registered to make medical decisions for a partner who is incapacitated. It allows notification as a family member in an emergency situation. It allows you to make funeral and burial arrangements for a partner who dies. It allows you to participate in the education of the children of the domestic partner, and finally, it allows correctional facility visitations. So it gives benefits at the time when you most need them in emergency situations. So unlike domestic partnership benefits, which are afforded medical to unmarried couples, whether it be same sex or opposite sex, the registry is just to register your partnership to allow you to make decisions for each other in situations where you might need them. So I just wanted to clear that up.
If there was any record of a domestic partnership, that we would have been eligible for the insurance for the partner.
Ah, well, I think that's two different, I think we're talking about a little bit of two different things, but I think you're 100% right. To be able to register your partnership is so very important to those of us who either cannot be married or are not married for whatever reason we're not married, and that's nobody's business. If you're opposite sex and you choose not to be married, it's nobody's business. But in order to, if you are in a committed relationship, and to be able to register that partnership is so very important.
Gene, thanks for that call. I appreciate that. Let's go now to Joseph, who's in Riverview. And if you'd like to join the conversation, please call 813-239-9663. You can also email us at dj@wmnf.org. We're talking about the Hillsborough County Commission that will be discussing a possible domestic partnership registry beginning tomorrow. And my guests are Sally Phillips, President of the Florida GLBT Democratic Caucus, and Ercilia Albistu, President of the Hillsborough County GLBTA Democratic Caucus. Joseph from Riverview, you're on the air.
Yes, I just want to say that I agree with Sam, and marriage is the sanctity between a man and a woman in holy matrimony within or in front of witnesses. When you have homosexuals, which are actually, I'm actually an evangelist, and I've ministered to a lot of homosexuals on the street wherever I go, and they say, well, it's not in the Bible literally. Well, a sodomite is homosexual, and you saw what God did to Sodom and Gomorrah. So you have something that is specifically for a man and a woman that can procreate, because a homosexual can't do that. You're asking for something that is not.
So let me ask you this, Joseph. Women who have, there might be a medical procedure where they can't procreate. Does that mean that they shouldn't have rights either?
That's not what I'm saying, but when you say, basically, not even from a biblical perspective, but even in nature, it's against nature. You don't see a male lion getting with a male lion, okay? There's a man and a woman in creation, and there's a purpose to that, okay? To procreate. It's not for, it goes against the law of nature. So, homosexual or anything like that, I'm just saying that when you're trying to pass something and say, well, we have the same rights as these people, or, I'm homosexual.
All right, Joseph, you've opened up a lot of questions, so let's see what Ercilia has to say about that.
Well, basically, it's not about the Bible. I mean, this is when you go and get married as a heterosexual couple, it's a government that issues you the license. It's not the church. And lust, that could go in a lot of directions. I'm not sure. What this has to do with is equality under the law. It has nothing to do with what you do in your bedroom. That's nobody's business. I mean, there's laws in the books now that make certain acts within the heterosexual community still illegal. Are we going to go into that too? I mean, we don't need to go there because that's not what this is about. This is about equality, and it addresses unmarried couples. The fact that you're same gendered or not, that's not what it's about. It's about expanding our community and making it a healthier, happier place.
And I heard Joseph talk a lot about marriage, and that's not what this is either.
It's not about marriage. I mean, it clearly defines this is not going to alter any existing laws in the books. This is just going to allow you, like Sally explained earlier, certain access. When your partner is in need or is there injury, there's unfortunately a life-threatening situation. That's what it's about. It's not about going to get married or going to church, because those are not even related. You can get married in this country and not